What's up, y'all? Today is a very joyous occasion. Pretty much, this is my birthday present slash Christmas gift to myself. I'm building a new PC rig. A little bit beforehand, this will be the second rig I've ever built. The first rig I built was back in 2010, so it's been over a decade. And that build's currently at my parents' house, but it was the Core i7 860 with the GTX 470. So yeah, you know how aging that PC is, which it still works. Surprisingly, when I go over there to my parents' place. But around 2015 or so, I ended up joining the military, gave my parents that rig, and I've pretty much been using this laptop since, because I didn't feel like building a rig because I move a lot in the military. But now that I'm in shore duty, I'm in a stable place now, I figured it was time to beef myself up, and I did. So I'm just going to explain the parts that I've chosen. Starting off with the CPU. It's the Ryzen 5900X. By the way, all these parts, except for the graphics card, came from Amazon. I'll explain the graphics card in a second. But for me, I'm a person that wants to utilize as much of these parts for as long as I can. So I figured, you know what, I might as well just go ham on the processor. 12-core CPU will last me a long time. And I feel like a lot of people kind of underestimate how far these cores can go. Like everyone jokes about, oh yeah, remember what they said about quad-core CPUs? Yeah, quad-core CPUs lasted, I would say, nearly a decade, right? The first one came out in 2008 with the Core 2 Duo. Then Intel in 2009-ish or 2010 brought out the i7 with hyper-threading. And all those CPUs pretty much lasted for a while. I would say until Ryzen was introduced in like 2017, 2018, right? Because we're not going to talk about Bulldozer and that failure of a CPU, which that was a quite the time in which core counts actually didn't matter and you were just better off with an Intel. But ever since Ryzen came out, Intel's finally had a challenge for once. So with that out of the way, like I said before, with quad cores finally dying out, I figured the same will be true for all these other multi-core processors, like 8 cores, 12 cores, whatever. And I do plan on streaming and video editing and stuff. So I figured a 12-core CPU would be nice for me. I was thinking about the 5800X, but for like 100 and like $20 more, I might as well just get like 50% more cores and double L3 cache, I think it has. But that's the CPU choice. And the graphics card. This is a Founders Edition RTX 3070 that I picked up at Best Buy. So with the GPU shortage, I know it's been really hard for people to get graphics cards. However, this was, mind you, I picked this back up in like July or so. Best Buy had like multiple GPU drops throughout the year, selling them at MSRP prices. So I literally paid $500, $499 plus tax, was like $525 or whatever for this card, and I've had it for about 2 or 3 months or so, waiting for the other parts. And I am happy that I was able to at least pick a 3070. If anything, my only regret was just not going for a 3080. I don't know why I just didn't go all out, but money was kind of tight, and I was like, I don't really need a 3080. But I think a 3080 would have been the smarter pickup. But with that, with the 3070, in case that eventually dies out, I still plan on using this processor. Hopefully, it's still as good in like the next 5-6 years. Probably upgrade the GPU to whatever series NVIDIA or AMD whips out. But that's it for the graphics card. This is a mess, but I'll put this all aside. I have a 1TB 980 Pro. This is a 4th gen M.2 drive from Samsung. This was a pretty decent buy for me, and I'm glad I picked this one up. It should be pretty fast and such. It took a while for me to I had to relearn PC parts again, right? Because it's been a whole decade, and it's like DDR4 is a thing. When I started, DDR3 was the best until you can get, and now I think DDR5 is coming out with the new Intel stuff, but it's whatever. But yeah, it took me a while to start relearning parts again. It actually wasn't, it was pretty fun. Put this on the side. I have some, my RAM sticks, 32 gigabytes at a 3600 megahertz Corsair Vengeance Pro. Not much about it. I figured I'd go for 32 gigs because it seems pretty, I guess, future-proof or whatever you want to call it. But that's it for that. I have some Corsair fans, or did I say Corsair? I meant Coolermaster. Coolermaster fans. This one will be for the exhaust for the case, and these three I will be using for the CPU cooler radiator, which I'll be replacing the stock fans for. But this was just a random fucking buy. I heard these were pretty okay and decent, so hopefully they work out well. Since I'm over here, the case I'm using is the TD 500 mesh white from Coolermaster. Case looks nice. It comes with the 3 stock ARGB fans, so I'll just be leaving those in front and probably doing my CPU radiator mounted on top, and then obviously the one fan for the exhaust. There was no reason for picking out this case other than it looked good, and the white looked pretty nice. That's all. The motherboard is the Tough Gaming X57 X5070 motherboard, the Pro version, not the Plus. This was on Amazon for, actually it still is right now at the time of this video at 186 bucks. I figured this was a pretty decent X57 board I can pick up. I guess I'm not a fan of the yellow strips on there, but it's kind of whatever. But pretty excited using this board. It has all the features I want. I could use the SSD 4th gen abilities on here, and another SSD M.2 if I wanted to. Stable board and Wi-Fi is a plus. I mean, it's 2021, why not? All right, move that here. And this will all be powered on a Corsair RM 750 watt power supply. I was kind of wondering if I should have gotten an 850, but I think a 750 is more than enough for the system, right? Because if I had a 3080, I probably would have gone for a 850. But since I have a 3070 with the 5900X, I figured a quality 750 watt power supply will be more than adequate enough to power the system. Of course, Corsair. My last build from 10 years ago was also a Corsair. It was like the HX 750 watt power supply. And obviously, it's been 10 years, actually over 10 years, and it's still running strong. So Corsair has my faith when it comes to these power supplies. Then the last thing is the cooler, which is the Master Liquid mirror. I'll be honest with you. Again, AIOs are a new thing to me. Obviously, my last build was the last CPU core I had was the Noctua I forgot the name, the D14, which is a beast of a CPU cooler. And actually, at that time, AIO coolers was still a thing. I remember Corsair came out with like the H50 something, and everyone was debating about between the Noctua D14 and the Corsair AIO, which they were pretty much neck and neck. But I was just like, let me just get the fucking Noctua anyways, a piece of a CPU cooler. But I digress. I had never really worked with an AIO, and this was something a friend suggested to me, this specific one. So as you can see, the stock fans are black. I'll be replacing those with the Coolermaster fans. And hopefully it looks all right in this case, because it's a black radiator with white fans. And see how that looks. But right now I'm getting my Windows flash drive ready. That's it for all the parts, I believe. Well, yeah, that's it for the parts, the main parts, obviously. I also have 2 monitors in the back. I'll be using that, a new keyboard, some sleeves, some whatever. But I will make another video with the finished product and then see how it runs. Peace. So current update on the build, we have the motherboard installed, CPU installed, our RAM slot or our RAM installed, and our SSD. So far this is looking really nice. I'm liking the black and white scheme that's coming out already. Guess I'm probably working on the CPU cooler next. Then some cable management, all that. Add the graphics card. Power supply as well needs to be in there. And I'll update the progress afterwards. Peace. So I have everything hooked up. I haven't fixed the cable management in the back yet because I want to see if this actually works or not. You know, it doesn't make sense to wrap up all the cables, test it, and then something's fucked. Then you have to unravel and all that stuff. So this is how the finished product of assembly came out. Looks all right. Kind of see the fan wires a little bit, but it's whatever. So have my monitor hooked up. I'll flip the switch here. And I'm already having something, so let's see if this works. Ooh, and there it goes. Let's see the post. Yeah, I have a post. Oh, and it went straight to my boot drive for Windows, which I'm surprised that worked. But after installation, Windows and all that stuff, I'll probably do some test marks, benches, and all that, and then give an update on how that's doing. So catch you guys soon. This looks real nice. So here we are with everything finally set up for the build. Have 2 AOC monitors that I'm using, both at a 1440p, keyboard, mouse, and the final build itself with everything hooked up. Looks nice, and yes, I am a Hanji Zoe fan. If you watch Attack on Titan, you know. But I digress. Final thoughts. I really did enjoy this build. It was a lot quicker than what I thought. The only, I guess, trivial portion was the ARGB lights. Trying to find the best path for me in terms of hooking it up, which I decided to hook them all up to a controller, and that controller comes with this case. And the neat thing about that controller is there's a reset portion, right? So you can take your your front panel cables, where your power switch, reset switch, and all that. You can take the reset portion, and instead of hooking it up to the motherboard like you usually do, you can hook it up to the controller. And with your fans also hooked up to the controller, which is powered through the SATA cable to the PSU, you can, if you wanted to, use the reset button and then just cycle through all the available colors you can go through on a normal cycle, which I thought was pretty neat, because I figured I'm not gonna have the need for an actual reset button anyways, right? So I figured this feature was pretty cool. So that's a big plus for this case. Another thing that I thought was pretty cool. So this portion here is the hard drive bay. I was able to remove one section from here, from where those two bolts are at. However, you can't remove the other section, which you can see in the front here, because it's riveted on instead of screwed, so there's no way you can pull that out. However, I did pull out the section over here, which was pretty nice because it gives more room for cables, a lot more room actually, to just hide your cables, which is pretty nice. So that was another nice convenient thing about the case. RTX 3070. My only gripe with this is, well, it's a lot of people's gripes that, well, for people who own the 3070 Founders Edition, the 12-pin adapter cable is probably the worst thing they could have ever done. It looks silly. It doesn't make sense. But I guess third-party companies probably have some cooler looking adapters you can use by now. That's just my only gripe with that. The Coolermaster liquid mirror, I haven't had any issues with that. My PC with it idles probably around like 30-ish, 30 to 35 degrees when I'm just idling around, which is pretty good. And gaming, I don't think I've ever gone past like 60-ish, 65, maybe a max of 70. Speaking with the CPU, the 5900X is a pretty good CPU. Been enjoying it, especially now that it's on sale on Amazon for $484. I think that's a pretty decent bargain. So I'm glad I picked that up for that. In terms of the build itself, I did run a 3D Mark, which gave me a GPU score of 13584 and a CPU of 12199, average of 13356, which I think it's kind of low, but I still got some tinkering around to do with that. And also Cinebench, I have for the CPU a score of 21,580 for your multi-core, and for single core we have a 1580 score. So not that bad. I did do some undervolting a little bit. There's a video on YouTube, like you can just look it up. It's like the first video there, just a basic undervolting guide, which goes through the PBO section of the Ryzen, which is pretty neat. So shout outs to that guy. I was able to get it stable at a -20 with the curve. So that's been pretty nice. Before that, I was getting temperatures of 80 when I was running Cinebench. So yeah, I probably lied to you there. But after I did the undervolt, Cinebench didn't go any higher than like 61 degrees or so. So I would definitely check out that video. I forgot the user's name, but it's literally like the first video you get when you type in undervolting the Ryzen. And it's such a pretty basic general guide, which you can obviously dwell deep down into that and optimize to your preferred settings. Just pop in this. So that's going on now. So this is it for the build. I am really excited because I probably won't be upgrading this for a while. Maybe the GPU for sure, depending on what happens in the next couple of years or so. But we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that's about it. If you guys have any more tips in terms of maintenance on the computer, trying to get a little bit more bang for my buck, any tricks, tips, and all that fun stuff, let me know in the comment section below. Peace.